should start at the beginning.
So you're going to say, how did this serial killer soiree start?
Exactly.
What do we tell you about the serial killer soiree?
Life is great.
I'll do what I have to earn it. I will.
To your best recollection, and I know now it's been how many years?
Let's see, what does this button say? This was 22, right? Yeah, this was the 22nd serial killer soiree.
So
So
that
it started in 96, I think. What does
Yeah.
it say? Can you see?
Yeah, 96.
96.
Yep.
So it would actually, the thing that started it was in 95. And so they came back in 96 with the t-shirts that said First Annual Serial Killer Soiree.
And what happened in 95? What was set the scene a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I had been out on a Friday night partying after a cold convention. Saturday morning, I was shaking. I mean, it had been a big night of fiesta. So I wandered into the French Quarter from my hotel, which was the Wyndham or the Westin. I don't remember what it was at that time. But anyway, wandered into the quarter looking for a cup of coffee. And as I headed to the lower quarter, I came through Jackson Square. I was on Charters Street. And just walking along, trudging down Charters, and I came to the intersection of Charters and Domain. And there was this sign that said Harry's Corner. It's like somebody reached out and said, "Come with me." So in I went. Well, I walked up to the bar, and there was just one guy behind the bar. I said, I'd like some coffee. He said, "Bucko, we do not have any coffee in this place." And he said, if I were going to do anything, I would suggest that you have what they're having. And he pointed over to the back of the bar at the jukebox. And there were these 5 people back there, just in a bunch, and they were all just gyrating and dancing to this music. So I kind of said, all right, I'll do that. And he gave me a Bloody Mary. So I had this Bloody Mary in hand, and I walked over to the jukebox where these people were, and I said, it is 10 o'clock in the morning. Are you just starting, or are you just finishing? And they just said, no, we're just starting. And I said, well, that's great, because that's the way I want to start my day. That's how I met Ruthie and Gerald Weaver, Jerry and Linda Westmoreland, and some woman named Sandy, who has since just kind of disappeared into oblivion. I always say, I think she may have moved to Winnemucca, Nevada, and she's working at the same gas station that Elvis Presley is sighted at.
Right.
We don't really know what happened to Sandy. She just disappeared.
Did they know Sandy? Or
They knew Sandy, but they didn't know her that well, evidently, because they didn't keep track of her.
Right.
So,
Right.
So anyway, that was how it began. That was how it began.
So you ended up spending pretty much all your time all day with these people. They invited you to Lafitte's, if I remember right?
Indeed. To take the story further, we just started dancing and partying, and I introduced myself, they introduced themselves, and you know, the jukebox at Harry's is one of the best in New Orleans. I mean, it's just got a lot of great oldies, and so the girls were both great dancers, and they still are. Janice Batchelor is the best dancer of any woman I have ever met, ever. And Ruthie is a pretty close second, Ruthie Weaver. But at any rate, on we went from bar to bar, husbands and the 2 girls and Sandy. Somewhere I think Sandy left us, and so it was just the Weavers and the Westmorelands and me. At some point during that day, I left my credit card at a bar, I think it was the blacksmith shop. and realized after leaving there that the credit card was no longer in my possession. So I said, I've got to go back and get it. And when Ruthie tells the story, she always says, well, I figured if he went back to get that credit card by himself, he'd get involved in a party at the blacksmith shop and we'd never see him again. So she said, I'll go with you. And she did.
Be my designated drummer.
Richie will help.
Okay.
Look at you.
Look at those eyelashes.
Thank you.
They've gotten a little smaller since the last time I saw
know.
you.
I cause tsunamis when I blink now.
I just love you so.
Are you guys ready?
So we went back, we got my credit card, we ended up going out to the house of Gerald and Ruthie and Jerry and Linda that they had in the Bywater. Went from that place to home of a guy named Dr. Bill, who ate red beans and rice, and we drank all the wine that he had in his house. And at midnight, they finally took me back to my hotel. So I had just spent 14 hours partying and drinking with complete strangers. And we all hugged and we said, oh, man, we're going to get together next year. Just like Neil Simon, same time next year.
This guy must be important. So it's Matthew and Mitch.
What up?
Are you on hold right now?
My son Joshua, right here.
What's up, Joshua? What's happening, man?
With younger
She's a machine.
2 families of 7. Rick's a liar. He's a
Yeah, absolutely.
So a year goes by. I have the same coal conference. It's always just before Mardi Gras. So I go to New Orleans. That first year was 1995. So the second year is 1996. So I figure, we'll see if these people show up. I didn't really think they'd come back. So I walk into Harry's Corner at 10 o'clock in the morning and nobody's there. The place is totally empty. And I said, yeah, I kind of knew it was a lot of hot air. So I said, well, maybe what I need to do is go order a Bloody Mary, and then, that'll be the magic that makes it happen. So I walk over, I order a Bloody Mary, and I hear, Killer! And I turn around, and here are those same 4 people, Gerald, Ruthie, Jerry, and Linda, and they've got 6 other people with them. And they're all wearing these yellow t-shirts that say, Koerpel's Crew Day Serial Killer First Annual Soirée. 10 these bright yellow t-shirts. And I had no idea what it was about.
I have a story to tell.
One of the machine, a serial killer.
Yes.
So they ordered Bloody Marys, we hugged, it's great to see you. They introduced me, and it's their kids and their husbands and some friends. And that's when the story came out that all during the year, whenever they talked about me and said, yeah, I wonder if that guy is going to come back next year, they never remembered my name was Craig. They never called me Craig. They always referred to me as the serial killer. And the reason was that when Ruthie and I went back to the bar at the blacksmith shop to get my credit card, her husband Gerald said to the others, I don't know, that Craig seems like he's an alright guy, but for all we know, he could be the serial killer. And so that's how they called me. They always said, oh, killer or serial killer.
Or it should be. I'm Ruth. And I've been coming here before everyone else. If it weren't for
We never had the serial killer name,
never had
right?
the serial killer name.
So in they come with these t-shirts, First Annual Serial Killer Soirée. That was 1996, and now it's 22 years later. And we have gotten together from just those 4 plus their 6 kids and friends. We've grown to a crew of about 100 and probably 120 people after this year. So that's who we are, the crew of Serial Killer. We did, however, change the name. It's no longer S-E-R-I-A-L, as in serial killer, but it's C-E-R-E-A-L, killer. We just thought it was a little more acceptable. People look at you weird when you have a vest or something on it that says S-E-R-I-A-L, killer.
Unless you're working at the Museum of Death, which I just came from.
Yeah, that could be.
Serial Killer Soirée, year 2017. Well, we just learned we sold out of buttons, and there were 100 of those. So there were at least 100 people who came cruising through here to Fiesta. And look at the party people in here. I mean, I gotta just look around. So that's how it went. All right, I'll do whatever.
So that's the story, my friend. That's how it all happened.
This is very cool. Greg is absolutely one of the most creative people you'll ever meet.
I'm her favorite brother.
Well, not really. He's the only one I have.
I'm going to vest him now. Now, usually this involves the sacrifice of a virgin, but we are in the French Quarter, so there are no virgins available.